Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are with these international webinar, seminar, interviews, whatever you want to call them. And more than anything today, I'm absolutely delighted that we're going to be getting into the heart of Nova Scotia. And in particular, we're getting into the national parks. And I couldn't think of two better people to have than Kirsty and Krista, who are on the other end of this line. I'm just about to reveal them. There they are. So, good morning, Kersti. Good morning, Krista.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Let's start with you, Krista. You work for the National Parks Organisation in Canada. Perhaps you can just explain briefly what that is. What does it do? I mean, I think
Sure.
everybody assumes that Canada is just one huge national park.
That's right. Yes, so Parks Canada is an amazing organization in that we are given the mandate to preserve and protect this amazing and nationally significant examples of Canada's natural and cultural heritage. And we do that through national parks and national historic sites right across the country. And we present them to our visitors and Canadians so that everyone can have this understanding and appreciation for the ecological and commemorative integrity of these places, because they all have a story to tell. And we're very fortunate to work for Parks Canada in that we get to present these to visitors coming to us. And so really for our visitors coming from the UK, they'll experience nature at its most pristine, also have an experience to learn a little bit more about the country and the people that have been here since time immemorial. And we're really pleased to be able to offer that in Nova Scotia.
Excellent. Kirsty, you're based in Nova Scotia, which is the focus of our chat today. I think, as I said, mentioned earlier, most Brits would think that Canada is almost like the whole country is a national park. But Nova Scotia is probably the most accessible in terms of international travel for Europeans to get to, given that the flight time to Halifax is very short, and the fact that even today you're only 4 hours behind a UK British summertime. What sort of offerings do you have in terms of parks and associated attractions, if you like, within Nova Scotia?
We have 3 national parks, in fact, in Nova Scotia: the Breton Highlands National Park, Kejimkujik National Park and National Historic Site, and Sable Island National Park Reserve, which offer an incredible diversity of both cultural and natural features that people can experience, that people can immerse themselves in. We do also administer over 20 national historic sites within the province. So there's a very broad range for every type of traveler, whether they want to immerse themselves in the culture or the nature. And the culture really is inextricably linked to the nature of the place, starting with the Mi'kmaq people, who have had such an incredible connection to the natural world and who have stewarded this world for millennia, which allows us to continue to enjoy, appreciate, respect, and be a part of this natural world.
That's an interesting aspect, really, because I think most Europeans would associate native North Americans with the USA and not Canada. Canada has its own native North Americans, and it has, as you said, people that have been associated and been using husbandry across this land for thousands of years. How much does that feature when you get in? I mean, you're aware of it as soon as you get into the visitor centres? Kirsty?
Yes, we offer programming through national parks, often Indigenous interpreters, Indigenous staff, resource conservation staff share their stories, share their knowledge, share their experience. And we also partner with many Indigenous organizations in managing our national parks. So it is very tangible, the presence, growingly so. It may not have been as much 20 years ago, but it is one of the major focuses of what we do in Parks Canada. Even when we have any kind of infrastructure renewal, there is always a deep process of consultation.
That's excellent. Krista, how do people get in there? Are there timed entries, or you just turn up in your car, or are there programs that you can get public transport into the parks? Perhaps you can give me a little bit more explanation from that.
Sure. Most of our transportation within Nova Scotia is required from I guess, a self vehicle. So a fly drive opportunity out of the UK into Nova Scotia, where you have your own hire car, your rental car. That will enable you to get to our national parks, Cape Breton Highlands National Park in Cape Breton, or Kejimkujik National Park and National Historic Site in the center of the mainland part of the province. So you do need a vehicle to get to those two locations. Kejimkujik is about 2 hours out of Halifax, and Cape Breton Highlands would be more along the lines of about 4 to 5 hour drive from Halifax. The travel trade are able to book private guided experiences for their visitors very easily. So we do offer private guided experiences as well as public tours. Both national parks offer guided programs predominantly in the July and August timeframe, but also between May and October there will be some programs that they will be able to book. And it's very simple to call or contact the visitor information centers and make those bookings. Generally speaking, there are nature-based programs and experiences. There's also dark sky experiences at Kejimkujik. It is a dark sky preserve. So it's some nighttime activities. And then there are also their Mi'kmaq cultural programs. We do have demonstrations of birch bark building canoes in the park, and that are on display in our visitor centers. So there's an opportunity to do guided and self-guided as well.
Cool. And can one stay in a national park? Is there accommodation?
Yes, we're very fortunate to have a very diverse offer of accommodations within our national parks, ranging from tenting, regular campsites that will accommodate tents. And then we also have roofed accommodations that have different names. They're a cross between rustic cabins and tents. But they're lovely because they have bunks, bunk beds inside, mattresses and tables, and a floor and a roof. They're called O-Tentics, and they're available in both of our national parks in Nova Scotia. And we also have teardrop shaped oases that are perched on stilts that are within Kejimkujik, called, again, oases. And then we have some rustic cabins. We also have some equipped camping opportunities where we will provide all of the setup required for visitors. So that's available in the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. So there's a real diversity on offer. So if you're coming from away and you need more, you need the gear associated with being in an outdoor nature environment, we do have an outfitter at Kejimkujik that will actually provide you with sleeping bags and camp stoves and the necessary items to actually be sleeping out in nature.
Very good. Kersti, is there a good time to visit, or is there that it's always a good time to visit?
I would say it's always a good time to visit. Certainly, the peak seasons in a place like Cape Breton Highlands National Park tend to draw people when it's warm, when the waters are swimmable. July, August are the busiest months. However, the shoulder seasons are spectacular. The fall colors are second to none in the highlands of Cape Breton, where the mountains meet the sea with the deep cut valleys, the Acadian forest in the valleys. You get such an incredible mosaic of color, and that will stretch into the middle of October. In the spring, the fresh glow of new buds coming out on the trees is also stunning. And for those brave enough, winter, and I say brave enough, I have never seen roads better maintained than in the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. Winter is a whole different world. An incredible peace descends upon the landscape. Snowshoeing, cross-country skiing is spectacular. Facilities are reduced in the shoulder and winter seasons. However, the park is still certainly accessible to experience.
The whole thing sounds fantastic, I must admit. I mean, I personally love winter. I don't ski too much, but I love winter. I mean, I like the complete change that one gets when you get a big snowfall, and as you say, peace descends on the land, and you get different types of wildlife as well that would be emerging. Talking of wildlife, Kirsty, what sort of wildlife would you get if you say you were going there in the middle of, say, September? Would you?
So in the middle of September, that is when mating season begins for the moose. So moose, we have a good swath of boreal forest, which is a northern forest, which overlaps with the range of moose in the world. It's a circumpolar forest. And so moose are something that people come to see. No guarantees that you'll see them. Black bear are another creature that are really quite incredible to observe, especially from a distance when they don't know that you're there. When you're perched upon a mountaintop, looking down into a valley, watching a bear just roll a boulder around, looking for grubs, perhaps doing a little fishing in the river. That is something to behold, especially when they're not aware that you're not there, that you're there. The birds are incredible, a mix of seabirds in Cape Breton and woodland birds, some of them quite unique to the area, some of them coming from far away. And and then those animals that are really well adapted to living in the harsh winters of the highlands, like the Canada lynx with its huge paws to walk upon the snow, the snowshoe hare with its built-in snowshoes. So these are all possibilities and many, many more. We have amphibians, 5 species of frog. We have reptiles, just a few, snakes. We have just something for everybody's taste and interest, I would say.
Very good, very good. Kristen, perhaps we can finish with you. As I said, it sounds absolutely fantastic, and why wouldn't anybody want to go there? I mean, it just sounds absolutely brilliant. What's the best place for people to get more information from, specifically about the national parks?
Well, we do have an array of web pages for all of our places right across the country. And what we've done for Nova Scotia is we've worked closely, Cape Breton and the mainland section, to have a Parks Canada page readily available for more information, and it's easy to find. I'll give it to you right now. So it's www.pc.gc.ca/NS as in Nova Scotia. And it will give you all of the Parks Canada National Historic Sites and National Parks in Nova Scotia, all details about them, a little map. You'll see the province of Nova Scotia kind of looks like a bit of a lobster with a lobster claw, which is the Cape Breton Island component. And a little bit about some of the different offerings that we do right across the province. We have a red chair experience that you can find in different locations. There's also the Parks Canada Perfect Picnic, details of how to find those local suppliers are on there, as well as information about what's new, special programs and experiences.
And presumably
yes.
gives you prices as well.
Yes, and so then you can find each site on that website, and it'll give you those full details. It'll also give you an amazing video right at the top that showcases the incredible diversity of the offer that we have. It's really all about that recreational opportunity to get off the beaten path and explore in nature, which truly soothes the soul and raises our spirits, and that's why we enjoy being able to offer that to our traveling public.
Marvelous. Well, ladies, thank you very, very much. Have a very, very good day today. I know, Kirsty, said it's raining where you are near Halifax, so hope it doesn't rain too much. It looks fairly dry inside your house, Krista. So best of luck, and I hope that at some point I will get to Cape Breton and indeed Nova Scotia National Parks and have a look for myself. Cheers.
Yes, definitely. Cheers.